Coming up on Golf Central, 50-year-old Steve Stricker earned his way to Erin Hills, where he will play the U.S. Open in his home state of Wisconsin. We go in-depth with Steve Stricker. The defending U.S. Open champion will be one of the favorites at Erin Hills. He has all the physical tools, but we will show you what makes Dustin Johnson a great mental player. And we are going deep. The big hitters tee it up live on Golf Channel for the World Long Drive Clash in the Canyon. We will bring you a preview and much more. You are on the tee with Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Hi there, and thanks for teeing it up with us here on this Tuesday edition of Golf Central. Todd Lewis, proud to be sitting beside our friend Tim Rosafort. We will have the World Long Drive Clash in the Canyon coming up live at 8 p.m. Eastern. More on that a little later on Golf Central. We begin, though, with the U.S. Open, which will take place just outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Erin Hills. Tim, we all know Steve Stricker is from Wisconsin. Some thought the USGA should have given him a special exemption. Others said he didn't deserve it. Well, he ended that debate by automatically qualifying for the U.S. Open through sectional qualifying on Monday. How much juice is this story getting?
Well, a lot of juice and a lot of energy from the Stricker family. And as he told me on the phone, it's fun, it's really cool, it's also tough at the same time. It'll be a big challenge, but one that I enjoy. And that seems to sum it up for a 50-year-old guy who's Mr. Wisconsin, basically, not only in the game of golf, but also in his home state. First time he's played two majors up there, PGAs up at Whistling Straits, never played a U.S. Open, played some GMOs and played pretty well, quite honestly, Todd. Not the way he wanted to get in some regards, but as Davis Love said, it's probably more fulfilling to him now that he did get in this way. And you think about it, how's a 50-year-old guy who just in 2014 had the tingles going down his legs, had some hip issues, you know, no problems whatsoever. Felt a little stressed, like I said when I called, but you know, he went through, had his physio over there, and you think he was ready before he pulled out this week in Memphis to play 8 straight weeks of golf, counting PGA Tour champions and regular champions and the PGA Tour rather, and then of course this major. But he feels like he's going to play well. You look at the record. He had a 4th in last year's Open. He was 16th in the Masters this year. He had some pretty good, not finishes lately or results, but some hope, some good opening rounds. It'll be obviously the story everybody's pulling for him to be in contention when he gets up there. And while he's not sure about winning, he does feel like he's got the game to be in contention.
He has played 8 times on the PGA Tour. He's missed the cut only once, so he has been quite competitive some this year on the tour. And let's just say that not only is he in contention at the U.S. Open, if he wins, you know how emotional he is. There won't be a dry eye on the green, around the green, if he wins in his home state of Wisconsin. Well,
as you know, what I need to add is that his wife, Nikki, will be on the bag for him. I'm excited. I'm filled with adrenaline about this. But Nikki will be on the bag for him. Just another reason, obviously, for him to be excited about this tremendous opportunity. And all his friends and the people of Wisconsin will be right there with him every step of the way, every shot of the way.
Good to see us guys in our age bracket doing some damage out there.
Speak for yourself, Todd.
Stage. Hey, I'll be 50 next week. USGA Executive Director and CEO Mike Davis released this statement. Having Wisconsin's own Steve Stricker qualify for this year's U.S. Open at Erin Hills is really special. He will bring an enormous amount of energy to the U.S. Open's first trip to Wisconsin and will no doubt be a fan favorite for his fellow Wisconsinites. Steve demonstrated his golf skills and competitive spirit in qualifying at Memphis, and we congratulate him on his great play. Well, the PGA Tour moves from Ohio to Tennessee for the 60th edition of the FedEx St. Jude Classic. No player in the modern Grand Slam era, by the way, has gone on to win the U.S. Open the week after winning on the PGA Tour. But of course, you have to get in the U.S. Open to try and break that streak first. Our George Savarikas joins us from Memphis, where a few guys in the field are trying to get over a marathon Monday.
Yeah, Todd, and you guys touched on the Memphis U.S. Open sectional qualifier won by Steve Stricker. For a lot of guys who were able to advance, at least 6 of them, they knew they had their spots sewn up late Monday night because Mother Nature rolled in around 5 local time, so there were a lot of delays. For 2 guys, that marathon Monday spilled into Tuesday morning, where there was a playoff to lock up those final 2 spots. For Xander Schauffele and Jonathan Randolph, it's going to be their maiden voyage in the U.S. Open. They got those 2 spots in the playoff. They're part of a group of guys gearing up for their first U.S. Open, while there's some other players I spoke with who are getting ready for another crack in the U.S. Open.
It's going to be my first major. You know, we're supposed to expect to qualify, but you know, I'm a rookie, so every week is new for me. So I'm just going to treat it just like it's just another week, really. I mean, it's going to be different preparation-wise. Biggest things, recovery right now. A little tired. Couple 5:30 wake-ups and not much sleep, but excited to qualify.
It was nice to know I was in a playoff because I lost in the playoff to get in the Honda. I wasn't even in the field at Honda this year, and lost on the first hole, and just ready to get out there and prove I've got the stuff, and played the USAM there, so I'm excited to get back. It's my first major, but at the same time, I feel like I've been there before, and I'm playing well, and just can't wait to get up there.
Once I saw that 8 under was in, I didn't look at it anymore. Went home, ordered a pizza, and Justin Thomas texted me, and I think we're going to play together next week, and we're going to have a good time. And just to be at my first major, first U.S. Open, it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to soak all of it in.
It was a grind. I mean, that first 18 feels like a normal golf round, and then you eat some lunch and hang out and come back for that second 18, and that first 9 holes of the second round is really tough. Kind of getting mentally back into it and staying focused for that long is really hard to do.
Harris English, a past champion of the FedEx St. Jude Classic back in 2013. That marked his first win on the PGA Tour. He's one of 2 guys who advanced in the Memphis U.S. Open sectional qualifier who have already gotten a look at Erin Hills, but that wasn't because of a recent scouting trip, as they weren't already in the field. That's because he and Jonathan Randolph played in the 2011 U.S. Amateur, both guys saying they're definitely going to need a bit of a refresher course next week. Todd.
That is George Savaricas in Memphis. He'll be there all week. 10 sectionals across the country on Monday. Here are a few notables that made it to Erin Hills, like former PGA champion Keegan Bradley, former Open champion Stuart Sink, low amateur in the Masters, Stuart Hagstad. He advances. Another amateur, Scotty Scheffler from the University of Texas in the field. By the way, Scheffler, he's 30 years younger than Steve Stricker. Padraig Harrington was scheduled to play the FedEx St. Jude Classic, but had to pull out today because of a bizarre accident where an amateur struck Harrington in the arm and ultimately sent him to the hospital. Padraig explained via Twitter, saying, just withdrawn from the PGA Tour's FedEx St. Jude Classic this week. He was hit in the elbow with a practice swing by an amateur. He was coaching at an outing. Thankfully, nothing broken, just stitches. I thought it was the end of me playing competitive golf. But he'll be only out for 12 days or so to let the stitches heal. There's no truth in the rumor that it was the amateur's best strike of the day. But I'm bummed. Well, tonight, some of the biggest of the big hitters will tee it high and let it fly in the World Long Drive Clash in the Canyon, which will take place in Mesquite, Nevada. One of the events that will lead up to the World Long Drive Championship taking place later this year. The action will be live at the top of the hour right here on Golf Channel. Grant Boone gets us ready.
Todd, here in the Virgin River Valley, it's the inaugural Clash in the Canyon. Great to be back in Mesquite. This grid hosted the World Championships for 5 consecutive years, ending in 2012. Grant Boone, along with 2-time National Long Drive champ Art Sellinger. The conditions will be a major factor tonight, and a little bit later on in Golf Central, Jerry Foltz will tell you more about that. Tonight, we're going to see one of the absolute superstars in long drive, Tim Burke.
The 2-time world champion. He is no stranger to this stage. Grant, every single time he gets out here for the last 5 years, he seems to close the door.
He's the man to beat. It seems others know he's the man to beat.
They kind of do. They get definitely, that fear factor. He's going to face Dan McIntosh in that first round. It should be a great match.
Well, this is fun tonight because for the first time ever live, we'll see the women compete. We're going to see a 4-time world champion in Sandra Karlborg.
The record book of women's long drive. Just an amazing hitter. And this morning, 339 to qualify, just lit it up, several balls over 330.
And a terrific player as well. Let's take a look at the men's brackets. We're going to see the quarterfinals tonight, and you see Burke against McIntosh, as Art mentioned. You've got your eye on that Alan Wilson matchup.
I do. I think if Maurice really gets when he's so animated, the adrenaline will just flow the rest of the night. But watch Wilson, the best golf swing, in my opinion, in the field. And if he fills it up, a lot of speed right there.
Let's take a look at the women's semifinal brackets, and you see Karlborg. We're also going to see the defending world champion in Phyllis Meddy.
Amazing. She won the championship last October, came 7,000 miles right here to the Clash in the Canyon, and she absolutely can murder the golf ball, and a win would just solidify what she did at the World Championship.
The bombs are going to be bursting in air tonight, Todd, here at the Clash in the Canyon. And we'll be with you at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, the third of 8 regular season World Long Drive events. Let's send it back to Todd.
Should be a lot of fun. Former PGA Tour member Brian Bateman will join us in just a moment. But first, I want to remind you the biggest names in the World Long Drive go head-to-head in a primetime showdown in Nevada, in the desert. Don't miss the Clash in the Canyon, presented by Golf Mesquite tonight at 8 Eastern. And here is Brian Bateman to talk about the big hitters, former PGA Tour member. Let's put you in the Zurich Classic, the team event, and you need one guy, a big bomber on the PGA Tour, to hit the drives for you. Who you got?
It's got to be Dustin Johnson, #1 player in the world. He has the longest drive on the PGA Tour this year, 428 yards, Todd. We've talked about his improved putting and his improved wedge play. One area he does not have to improve on is his driving distance. You can see once again he's first on tour in driving distance. A little bit strange that he's 13th in ball speed, but you can see here what he does so well. Has a lot of width to his golf swing, and I think he has the biggest shoulder turn on the PGA Tour. And you can see as he starts down, his right elbow tucks to the inside, which allows him to put the club head right on the ball, full hip release. The club exits to the left, which allows him to hit his patented left-to-right fade, which he's finding a lot of fairways this year. Look, what is the combination that you have to drive it a long way? You have to have a lot of things in your favor, obviously. You got to be flexibility, you got to have great athletic ability, and you also have to know that when the ball is going to be hitting the back of that ball, it has to know which way it's going to go. He could find the grid tonight. Left to right, he could find the grid. He hits it straight enough and long enough to compete in this thing.
And he hits it with a fade. A little buttercut fade, plus 300 yards, and considered one of the best athletes out there on the PGA Tour, maybe the best. Hey, here's a question for you. Which PGA Tour player would you want to hit one long drive for you? And here are our choices. You can go on Twitter and vote, or Instagram and Facebook. Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, or Bubba Watson. Want to hear from you here on Golf Central. Stay with us as we continue on Golf Central. He rose to #1 in the world this year, and some say he will be there for a long time, thanks to an aspect of Dustin Johnson's game that is often overlooked. We will tell you what that is. Plus, the NCAA handing out some postseason hardware. We will tell you the coaches of the year, plus point out a few favorites for player of the year. That and much more coming up.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Volkey Design SM6 wedges, progressive design, precision performance. Grip Confidence, Grip Golf Pride.